can't scroll far on social media or sit through a dinner party without hearing it, the joke or comment about penis size. Someone might be bragging about how large their partner is, or perhaps complaining about a lackluster experience. It's a topic that's become a cultural punchline. But let's pause for a moment and ask an honest question. Do women really want a 12-inch penis? I'm Dr. Evelyn Hartwell, a board-certified urologist and sexologist. Today, we're going to cut through the myths and the noise. I want to walk you through the actual research, not opinions, on what women genuinely prefer when it comes to penis size. And I think the findings might surprise you. Let's begin with a few clever studies that approach this question in a unique way. Instead of just asking women what they say they prefer, researchers analyzed what they actually buy. They looked at the best-selling sex toys on the market, particularly those designed for vaginal insertion. The assumption here is simple but brilliant. What women choose to purchase and use for their own pleasure may reflect more honest preferences than verbal reports, which can often be influenced by social pressure or bravado. So what did they find? Across 8 major sex toy distributors, the most commonly purchased insertable lengths ranged between 4 to 6 inches. Let that sink in for a moment. 4 to 6 inches. Even more telling, on 6 of those 8 websites, the average length of the best-selling toys was less than 6 inches, and the average girth was less than 4.5 inches. This is remarkably close to the average size of a natural erect penis. If you're unsure of what that average actually is, the vast majority of men fall between 5 and 6 inches in length when erect and around 4.5 to 5 inches in circumference. If that describes you, you are entirely normal. Another study narrowed the focus to realistic dildos, again analyzing only those labeled as bestsellers from the top 5 adult retailers in the United States, as well as Amazon. In this case, the average insertable length was about 16.7 centimeters or 6.5 inches. Yes, that's slightly longer than the biological average, but not by much. This gives us a fascinating insight. Perhaps some women are curious or enjoy experimenting with something just a little above average, but very few are actively seeking out extremes. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. Another group of researchers went a step further and analyzed what actually drives the popularity of certain toys. They discovered that price and circumference had a much bigger impact on a woman's purchase behavior than insertable length did. In other words, many women cared more about affordability and a comfortable fit than they did about maximizing length. In fact, toys with a larger than average girth were often less popular than their average size counterparts, likely because extreme girth can cause discomfort or even pain. So, what does all of this data tell us? It suggests that when given complete freedom to choose any size imaginable for their own pleasure, most women opt for something that is average in length, perhaps slightly longer and average in girth. The focus isn't on extremes, it's on comfort, pleasure, and what feels good for their individual bodies. This reality is profoundly different from the media narratives we've all been conditioned to hear, but it's grounded in data, not fantasy. If you fall within the average range, which the vast majority of men do, you're not just fine, you're normal. And more importantly, you are perfectly equipped to satisfy a partner. Yes, there will always be outliers, people who make jokes, and a culture that talks in extremes. But when women make private choices for their own bodies, with no one watching, they overwhelmingly go for average. That is a powerful truth worth remembering. In one of my other discussions, I explore a fascinating study showing that women who regularly achieve vaginal orgasms do report a slight preference for longer penile length. But again, we're talking about modest increases, not the extreme sizes glorified in porn and pop culture. And this brings us to the most critical point of all. Sexual connection is about so much more than measurements. It's about confidence, communication, and emotional intimacy. It's about being present with your partner. A person who is consumed with anxiety about their size is often not fully engaged in the act of giving and receiving pleasure. Their mind is on their own insecurity, not on their partner's experience. Confidence is magnetic. It's the ability to use your hands, your mouth, and your body to explore what your partner enjoys. It's having the courage to ask, "Does this feel good?" and the attentiveness to listen to the answer, both verbal and nonverbal. The most memorable sexual experiences are built on a foundation of feeling safe, desired, and emotionally connected. Things that a ruler can never measure. Foreplay, technique, and a genuine desire to please are infinitely more important than an extra inch. The clitoris, the epicenter of pleasure for most women, is primarily an external organ, meaning that fulfilling sex often has very little to do with the depth of penetration. For many men, building that unshakable confidence starts with knowledge, not with comparison. It starts by understanding that the bigger is better myth is largely a marketing tactic and a relic of a culture that has failed to understand female sexuality. If you've enjoyed this, please consider subscribing. Share this with someone who needs to hear that they are more than enough. And most of all, take care of yourself because you are absolutely worth it.